The scheme is to enable petty traders expand their trades with a collateral-free loan of 10,000 naira. To what extent will this scheme go in reducing poverty in the society? What criteria qualifies one to access this loan? This is our focus on NTA News Panorama today, coming to you from the Lagos Network Center. I am Hinginu John Adams. We will be back in a moment. Thanks for being there. President Muhammadu Buhari is reassuring Nigerians that the budgetary allocation to education sector will be improved as the nation's economic fortune gets better through the various policy initiatives of his administration. At an interactive session with Nigerians in France, the president described the education sector as the pivot around which the nation's developmental aspirations revolve. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
It was a no-holds-barred interaction between President Muhammadu Buhari and members of the Nigerian community in France. Issues relating to education, the fight against corruption, development of infrastructure, restructuring and diaspora voting dominated discussions.
Mr. President, you're a human being. You eat, you sleep, you wake up. Do you ever get discouraged?
President Buhari told his audience that a 5% allocation to education in the budget is without doubt inadequate to propel the desired growth for the economy. He said although the governing APC is currently reviewing investments in the nation's critical infrastructure like roads, rails and power, more investments need to be done in education. President Buhari once again expressed surprise that the nation's elite tolerated the fall in standards and structures of educational institutions despite oil windfalls in the past that would have made the difference.
My disappointment with Nigerian elite. I couldn't recall much noise being made about the damage done by the main opposition now to the economy and the integrity of the country. What did they do when the country was being stolen blind? But I'm doing my best to utilize Nigerian resources for the development of the country. We are trying to do the infrastructure because it will improve the power earnings of Nigerians and we can tax them and get more money, to do the infrastructure and other things, and including investing more on education.
The president said the war against terrorism will be reinforced with new weapons and hardware for the military, while the challenge of abduction and kidnapping in parts of the country will receive more attention with better gathering of intelligence. He expressed satisfaction with the steps taken so far by INEC to remain more focused on consolidating its achievements in the conduct of elections and restated his commitment towards ensuring that the 2019 polls is free, fair and credible. The Nigerian ambassador to France, Dr. Modupe Irele, said the Nigerian community in France have been demonstrating high sense of responsibility, dedication and morality, saying the large number of professionals amongst them are willing to contribute to the nation's socio-economic development.
The Nigerian community in France has been, on the whole, very, very well law-abiding and peaceful and resourceful.
President Muhammadu Buhari has done a lot, and we really need to commend him. It is only a blindfolded person that will not see the transformation going on in Nigeria today. So we love him, and we appreciate him, and we promise that we will make sure that he's re-elected in 2019, and the project continues.
The interactive session was coordinated by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Diaspora Matters, Abike Dabri Erewa.
That the more you engage with them, the more they have a better understanding of what is going on back home. And they're all willing, and that's the key thing, they're all willing to be part of the progress and development of their country. Now, one is going into farming. Living here to come back home to farm.
It's always a good story to tell because so many of them have so much to come back and contribute at home. We hope with what they have seen and heard from Mr. President, a lot of them will come back and contribute their own quota to Nigeria.
The Nigerians in the diaspora made presentations to President Muhammadu Buhari in appreciation of his leadership and commitment to a greater Nigeria. From Paris, France, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The federal government has reaffirmed commitment to a sustainable and quality educational system in the Nigeria's universities. The chairman negotiating team between the government and Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Dr. Wale Babalakin, gave this assurance during a media briefing on the position of government on the ongoing ASU strike in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi reports.
Indefinite nationwide strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities on the 4th of November this year has paralyzed academic activities in all the government-owned universities in the country. The chairman negotiating committee between government and ASU, Dr. Wale Babalakin, SAN, appealed to the striking union to embrace dialogue to resolve their grievances. He said the National Council of Education has directed that students' loan scheme be set up by the various state governments and to set up education bank to provide soft loan for students seeking to obtain university education, as well as to improve the standard of university education.
We urge well-meaning Nigerians to appeal to ASU to return to the negotiating table and resolve issues based on accurate information and verifiable data. We remain committed to a permanent solution of the recurrent industrial triples that have militated against the progress of the Nigerian university system. We are determined to ensure that Nigerians receive proper education.
It is hoped that ASU will heed the appeal of the government to enable students resume for their academic pursuits. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo is advocating autonomous power to states for rapid economic growth. Professor Osinbajo stated this at a forum in Lagos against the background of the continuous agitations for geographical restructuring of the country. Michael Olaleye reports.
Records from the National Bureau of Statistics show that the population of people living in extreme poverty in Nigeria was 112 million between 2010 and 2014. Vice President Osinbajo wondered why the country should experience such change in fortune at a time when the country experienced a record oil revenue of $381 billion. This analogy is what the Vice President used to counteract the call for geographical restructuring, adding that what the country needs is to frontally address what it termed ground corruption and mismanagement.
Today, our trader money scheme is costing us 20 billion. But somebody with $292 million, almost 70 billion. If you had 70 billion, you will solve the problems of 7 million of those petty traders. That's the kind of thing we're talking about.
The Vice President said efforts should be channeled towards annexing the constitutional power of the state assemblies to enact law and create massive opportunities for good governance.
To ensure that we generate income, and then of course the states must be strong. But the point I'm also making is that even today, despite the fact that we haven't done any major constitutional changes, it is possible for us to have stronger states. It's possible for us to have more autonomous states, despite the fact that we have not yet made a major constitutional change.
Lawmakers and public analysts at the forum aligned with the Vice President's view, insisting that if the multiplicity of agencies has not solved some societal challenges, then geographical restructuring is not the answer.
To allow the states to run to exploit minerals. Osun has gold.
The theme of the forum was restructuring and the Nigerian Federation. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
The federal government social intervention program, Trader Money, aimed at empowering petty traders in the country, has significantly impacted positively on lives. Beneficiaries in Lagos, while interacting with the Vice President, described the initiative as a means of alleviating their plights. Abolade Salami tells us more.
Petty traders who engage in business over time are to grapple with lack of capital collateral to access loans. The situation has now changed as most traders like Omoto Shawaid cannot heave a self-relief with the federal government social intervention program.
It's highly yielding positive results because it has helped us a lot in improving our business. We have come up again at least no matter how little the money, we have been able to use the money to buy more goods, and therefore we are having increase in our business.
Gotten it.
Okay, tell me, what impact will that money have on your business?
I still have many impacts because it's very much, you know, a business, just to manage my business.
So are you grateful to the government?
Yes, I'm grateful to our government that gave us the money. So thank you very much.
Vice President Professor Yemi Oshibajo, accompanied by Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode, visited Ikotun, Iyanopaja, and Ile-Epo markets to assess the impact of the intervention program on traders. The traders, who could not hide their appreciation and gratitude, came out jubilating to welcome the Vice President with an assurance to judiciously make use of the non-interest loan. The Vice President thereafter assured them of government's determination to improve their well-being. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
To discuss more on federal government's social intervention program, Trader Money, is Dr. Austin Nweze of the Lagos Business School, Pan-African University, Pan-Atlantic University. You're welcome.
Thank you.
What is your perception on the Trader Money loan?
Well, it's a good thing, you know, at least the thought of, you know, doing something to alleviate the hardship being felt by, you know, because if you ask any business person, any trader, the major thing that is, you know, hindering or hampering the business, they will tell you money. But sometimes money is not the problem of any business, you know, and we always encourage people to look beyond the money and look up from the idea, you know, process, the idea, how do we improve this thing, even the skill acquisition for the person. And in the past, the federal government had, you know, had various programs. You had in the past You Win program, which took a different turn in the sense that it's for bigger entrepreneur businesses where they got up to 10 million and all that. But this one is positioned for petty traders, you know, who are different from entrepreneurs, and it's a good thing. But the point is, it depends on the usage, what they use the money for. You know, I know that some people, you know, had you know, interviewed, you know, recently. They were asked what they did with the money. Some said they put it in their own businesses to buy more goods to sell. Others said they had to pay hospital bill. You know, other person said they had to use it to pay NEPA bill. You know, so there are so many stressors, so many things stressing people. NEPA is stressing everyone and all that. So in the course of all of that, you know, so but generally it's a good thing. But that leads me to another point. You know, in when we talk about...
Sorry to cut you.
Yes.
You mentioned something about similar programs in the past.
Yes.
So what do you think will make this one unique?
Well, the thing is that this one is coming, you know, to lower level. Maybe because the You Win was like more educated, you know, people who are doing entrepreneurial business. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's a difference between opportunity, these two types of entrepreneurship. Opportunity entrepreneurship and necessity entrepreneurship. These petty traders belong to necessity entrepreneurship, you know, in the sense that they don't really create jobs. That's the difference. Opportunity entrepreneurs build up big businesses, employ other people, thereby creating more jobs. But these people are also, you know, selling recharge card on the street, selling foodstuff and all that. So there's no entrepreneurial discipline, you know. But it's also good in the sense that they have this apprenticeship system, whereby after helping the master, you're able to raise enough capital to set up the apprentice person. So if that continues and all that, then it will be good. But again, it's important to note that monies given to businesses, no matter how little it is, should be utilized, and skills must be built. They should go further than training these people to understand that money given by government and all that is, to help. When you train them, give them skills on how to expand, then they'll be able to really do more when given these monies.
Thank you, Dr. Nweze, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Let's now pause for a break. We'll be back shortly.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You are here already?
No. Now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jab questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Better.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Hear the call of change, stand up. Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to so let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogerola. Change begins with you and me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me. Change begins with me.
Welcome back. 121 road projects have been delivered in the 3 years of the Buhari administration, representing more than 80% of the road projects started by previous administrations since 1999. This analysis was established at a news briefing by the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola. Correspondent Usman Aliu has details.
Journey time on the Enugu-Port Harcourt road is reducing, thanks to the commitment of the Buhari administration to road development projects. Out of the 265 roads constructed within 19 years, 121 are development from 2015. Consequently, the inaugurated Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund is equally to solve funding issues on the Second Niger Bridge, Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Highway, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Mambila Hydropower, among other key projects, as explained by the Minister of Power, Works and Housing.
Our intervention on roads does not stop on interstate roads and highways. It has also entered the universities. As a first phase, we are operating now in 14 federal universities where unattended internal roads are now receiving attention.
In the power sector, the increment in the power generation, minimum of 1,000 megawatt in a year, as well as the commitment on boosting the capacity for the wheeling and the distribution for efficient supply, has achieved more than the anticipated target.
Although there are still people that we have not reached, and although there are still disruptions from time to time, and also although there are still people who also need meters, and we are working to reach them, It is indisputable that we have delivered on incremental power.
New thinking to making basic human needs easy in Nigeria is the idea behind the pilot national housing projects in 34 states.
Policies like the reduction of equity contributions from 5% to 0 for those seeking mortgage loans of up to 5 million and the reduction from 15% to 10% for those seeking loans over 5 million are certainly helping to ease access to housing.
The merger of the Ministry of Power Works and Housing by President Buhari in November 2015 has succeeded in providing the platform for an organized infrastructure development, the minister says. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
The federal government says it is planning to build more trailer parks in Lagos to end the lingering traffic in Apapa. This was disclosed by the chairman, Senate Committee on Works, Senator Kabiru Gaya, during an inspection tour of the ongoing projects. Dotun Ogunyemi reports.
This visit by the Senate Committee on Works, led by Senator Gaya, assessed ongoing federal government projects in Lagos. The committee expressed displeasure with the slow pace of work on the ongoing shoreline protection of the Apapa trailer park. Senator Gaya said its timely completion will put an end to traffic in the area.
Because when we came in on 2016 to start the project, it was not up to 70% completion.
It was 97%.
No, sir. So what I'm saying is for now it's 97, so which means there was no movement. There has been some movement, money has been paid, and you have to embark the shores. You know, the river, the shorelines has to be built up to protect the trailer parks. And we insist that this project must be finished, and they are saying that by end of this year, they should be able to hand over and they can use the trailer parks.
On the reconstruction of the Apapa Wharf Road, the committee commended the efforts of corporate organizations for funding the project, which is nearing completion. The Controller of Works in Lagos, Adedamola Kuti, gave an insight into the Lagos-Badagry Expressway project awarded in October this year.
The federal government has just, through the Federal Executive Council, has just awarded complete rehabilitation of that road, that is from Bagara Junction to Badagry to Semeboda. So work will commence any moment from now.
Other projects expected include the Ikorodu-Shagamu Road, access roads to NNPC depot in Mosimi, and the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is to be delivered in 2021. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says no efforts will be spared to ensure that the well-being of officers and men of the Nigerian Army is given priority. He stated this at the inauguration of an officers' mess located at the military hospital in Ikoyi, Lagos. Lynn Leneke has details.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who was represented at the event by Major General Okeke, said the recreational facility is born out of the need to provide a conducive environment for the Army medical personnel to relax.
We want to commend this great effort to return professionalism and regimentation to this hospital and to the staff of the hospital. Happy that at this time we have a Chief of Army Staff that is very much concerned about the development of the facilities in the medical corps.
Renovation works were also carried out at the medical facility and a perimeter fence put in place to safeguard the environment.
It will enhance our productivity and then their welfare generally. This is in line with Chief of Army Staff's vision.
The military hospital was originally known as Creek Hospital and was renamed in 1947 as the Military Hospital Ikoyi. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.